Hello, welcome to Storytime from the Milledgeville Public Library of Illinois. The story we have today comes from the Muskogee people. It's a Native American story from the United States, from the people who call themselves the Muskogee. This is the story that explains a little something about how our world works. Once long ago, the birds and the animals had an argument. The birds said they were better because they had wings, and the animals said they were better because they had teeth. And this argument went on and on and on and on, and people started to get angrier and angrier and angrier, and pretty soon it looked like the birds and the animals were going to go to war because they were so determined, each group, to prove that they were the better. Well, finally, in an attempt to not let a war start, Bear, who was the leader of the animals, and Crane, who was the leader of the birds, got together and they decided that they had a better way to solve this argument. Instead of having a war, they were going to play a ball game. And the winner, whoever scored the first goal, would be the winner, and they would get to set a penalty for whichever team lost. And so all of the birds and the animals hopped and flew and ran and walked and sailed down to the field where they play ball. And when they got to the ball field, they all chose up sides. And all of the animals went on the one side because they were the ones with teeth. And all of the birds went on the other side because they were the ones with wings. But there was one animal that didn't fit in either group. In fact, he fit in both groups, and that was Bat. You see, Bat had wings, but Bat also had teeth. So first Bat went to the animals and he said, "May I join your team, please?" And Bear said, "I don't think that would be very fair. You see, you have wings. You should be with the birds." And so Bat said, "Okay," and he flew off to the bird side of the field. When he got to the bird side of the field, he said, "The animals said I should be on your team because I have wings." And the other birds looked at him and they said, "But you have teeth and you're so small. How on earth do you think you're going to help us?" And they laughed at him. Well, Bat was a little sad, but he decided to go ask the animals if he could play with them again, since the birds obviously didn't want him. And so he flew back over and he said to Bear, "The birds laughed at me. They won't let me join their team. Please, can I be on your team? I have teeth." Well, Bear felt a little sorry for the small animal, and so he said, "All right, you can join our team, but even the small ones can make a difference. But you know what? Let the bigger animals play first." Because he really didn't think that Bat could help them that much, and he didn't want Bat to get hurt. And so the animals took up their sticks, and they took up the ball, and they began to play. And they played back and forth and back and forth, for Deer and Fox on the animals' side were very fast runners, and Bear could clear the way for them as they ran down the field with the ball. But as soon as they tried to throw it through the goals, Crane and Hawk, who were very fast and even a little faster than Deer and Fox, came swooping in and would steal the ball, and they would fly towards the other side of the goal. Well, it became obvious pretty quickly that the birds had an advantage, for you see, when they got the ball, they could simply fly high up in the air and the animals couldn't reach it. They couldn't steal it back. But the animals defended their goal very, very well, and so the birds were not able to score. And so the ball went back and forth across the ball field all day long. And the animals were starting to get very tired, and the birds were starting to get very tired, but they still had a little bit of an advantage because they could fly. And the sky began to get dark, and it began to be very difficult to see. And finally, Crane got a hold of the ball, and Crane started flying straight for the animal's goalpost, and Bear started running to try to stop Crane, but he tripped because it was just that dark that he just couldn't see the unevenness of the ground in front of him. And it looked as though the birds were going to win the game. But just as Crane threw the ball to go through the goalpost, suddenly a small shadow swooped in and stole the ball. It was Bat. And he flitted about the field, back and forth around all of the animals and all of the birds. For you see, Bat didn't need to be able to see. He didn't need the light to see where he was going, because he could do it with his sounds that he made. And so he flew down the field and right between the goalposts on the birds' end of the field, and the animals won the game. Everyone was so tired that they could barely cheer. But the animals admitted that Bat was most definitely an animal now, for he had won the game for them. And the birds landed on the ground, and they waited to hear what the penalty would be for losing the game. And Bear said, "Bat, I think you should set the penalty, for you have won the game for us." And Bat said, "Well, you birds, your penalty is that for half of the year you must leave this land." And so it is that the birds fly south in the winter and leave the land for half of the year. And every night, just as it begins to get dark, Bat comes flying out to see if the animals might need his help in another ball game. And that is the story of the great ball game from the Muskogee people of North America. We hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you'll join us again on Friday at 3 p.m. here on the Milledgeville Public Library of Illinois Facebook page, and we'll have another story for you. Until then, have a great day. Bye.